Imagine being the guy who nails the fastest pit stop of the entire race, 1.91 seconds, pure perfection. And instead of being rewarded, you get told to move aside. That's exactly what happened to Oscar Piastri at Monza. This wasn't some mid-pack shuffle either. This was for a podium finish, and it's sent shockwaves through the F1 world. Now, McLaren fans have had their suspicions for a while. Whispers about favoritism toward Lando Norris have been floating around all season, but at Monza, those whispers turned into a roar. And it wasn't coming from conspiracy theorists or salty fans. It was coming from the track itself. You could hear it in Piastri's voice over the radio. You could feel it in the crowd's reaction. Something felt off. Here's how the mess started. Piastri was in prime position late in the race, running ahead of Norris thanks to a slick undercut. His crew executed flawlessly. Then Norris comes in a lap later, and McLaren botches it. Faulty wheel gun, slow stop, the kind of thing that just happens in racing. But instead of letting the natural order play out, McLaren jumped in and told Piastri to give the place back. Just like that, no penalties, no on-track overtaking, just team orders. The official explanation? It was always meant for Lando to be ahead, said team boss Andrea Stella. They compared it to Hungary the year before, where apparently they had some internal logic behind pit stop sequencing. But let's be honest, that's not how fans or even rival teams saw it. To them, it wasn't about strategy, it looked like manipulation. Max Verstappen openly laughed at the call. The radio, Dodo Wolff called it a dangerous precedent. If one bad pit stop justifies switching positions back, where do you draw the line? Bad tire choice? Missed braking point? At what point do we stop calling it racing and start calling it managing? And then there's the Oscar Piastri angle. He didn't fight it, he obeyed. Slowed down, let Norris through, and quietly took fourth. Some called it maturity, others said it was weakness, because here's the uncomfortable truth. Once you show a team you're willing to take that kind of hit without a fight, they might just keep asking. You've got a young driver who's proven he's got the pace, the discipline, the guts, and you clip his wings, all while protecting the golden boy? That doesn't sit right. Not with fans, not with other teams, and probably not with Piastri himself. But let's zoom out a bit. This isn't just about one race or one radio message. This is about the bigger picture. McLaren's internal dynamics. Lando Norris has been their face for years, the charismatic, cheeky Brit with a massive fan base and all the media love. Piastri, meanwhile, is newer, quieter, but arguably just as quick, maybe quicker. So what happens when your rising star starts outshining the poster boy? If you're McLaren, apparently you hit the brakes, literally, and fans noticed. Social media lit up like a firestorm. Hashtags calling it sabotage. Viral posts saying Piastri was robbed. People questioning whether McLaren had already decided who they wanted to lead their championship charge, regardless of what happened on track. Even at the podium celebration, you could hear it. The crowd's reaction to Norris was mixed. Cheers, maybe, but there were definitely boos too. And that kind of energy sticks. It starts shifting narratives. From team leader to team favorite. From deserved to gifted. And that's the danger. Once the public starts seeing you as the protected one, every win gets questioned. Every overtake gets dissected. Every team order feels like an agenda. Norris might not have asked for it, but he's the one carrying the baggage now. And Piastri? He's playing the long game. Or maybe, just maybe, he's plotting his revenge. Inside the McLaren garage, it's a different kind of tension. Quiet but heavy. On the surface, everything looks normal. Smiles, debriefs, the usual corporate polish. But if you look closely, you'll notice the cracks. Eye contact avoided, tones clipped, a certain stiffness between driver and engineer. It's the kind of atmosphere that doesn't need words. Everyone knows the line was crossed. Oscar Piastri isn't the kind of guy to throw a tantrum on camera. He doesn't slam doors or start fights in the press, but there's a coldness to him now. A little more guarded, a little less trusting, and who could blame him? He didn't lose a position because he made a mistake. He lost it because someone else did, and the team still decided to punish him for it. This isn't just about one call, it's about what that call symbolizes. In Formula One, every move sends a message. When McLaren ordered that switch, they weren't just telling Oscar to let Lando pass, they were telling the entire paddock who their priority is. Whether they meant to or not, they've painted themselves into a corner. Now every future decision will be watched under a microscope. Every pit strategy, every radio message, every camera angle, the media's already running with it. Headlines asking if McLaren is grooming Norris for the title. Pundits debating whether Piastri should have ignored the order. Former drivers weighing in with takes like, if that was me, no way I'd have let him through. Even Sky Sports, usually careful not to ruffle feathers, couldn't help but question what just happened. And then there's the fans, passionate, vocal, and unforgiving. They don't forget. McLaren's image took a hit that day, and no press release can clean that up. Online, the reactions were brutal. Some fans even joked that Piastri should start looking at contract options. Others took it further, accusing McLaren of sabotaging their own future to protect the status quo. But while the internet rages, the real question is, what happens next? Because this kind of drama doesn't just go away, it lingers. It seeps into strategy meetings, private conversations, even sponsor relationships. And with the championship fight this tight, McLaren can't afford a fractured team. For now, Oscar's keeping it professional. He's still showing up, still delivering, still the same cool-headed driver everyone respects. But respect can turn to resentment fast when the scoreboard starts to lie, when you know you had the pace, when you know you earned that podium, and it got taken from you by politics. Lando Norris isn't the villain here, not entirely. He didn't make the call, but he didn't reject it either. That's what stings for a lot of people. A driver with real grit might have said, let him keep it, he beat me fair. But Lando took the place, walked onto the podium, smiled for the cameras, business as usual. It raises the uncomfortable idea that maybe deep down, McLaren has already made its choice. And if that's true, Oscar has a decision of his own to make. Does he play the loyal soldier, wait for his moment, or does he start pushing back? Because here's the thing about Formula One. It's not just about talent. It's about politics, timing, and leverage. And right now, Piastri's stock is quietly rising. He's got fan support, media sympathy, and raw pace. All he needs now is the guts to say no the next time they ask him to step aside. And if he does, everything changes. The silence after Monza didn't last long. Behind closed doors, murmurs started turning into meetings. Engineers trying to smooth things over, PR reps drafting careful statements, and management walking a tightrope between keeping both drivers happy and preserving the illusion of harmony. But harmony's fragile, especially when it's forced. Oscar Piastri isn't naive. He knows how the game works. He's watched other drivers get boxed into number 2 roles, some never escaping. He also knows the kind of leverage moments like this can give him, not just with McLaren, but with the whole grid. When a team publicly favors one driver, it's not just internal politics anymore, it's a signal to the rest of the paddock, and teams pay attention to that signal. If McLaren keeps playing this game, other teams will notice. Teams looking for a future number 1, teams who've seen what Oscar can do with less support and still nearly outshine the star boy. In fact, some of them are probably already watching. Because let's be honest, drivers like Piastri don't come around often. Quick, composed, and ruthlessly smart. He's not just good on track. He's strategic off it. Meanwhile, Lando Norris is facing a new kind of pressure. The kind you don't shake off with a good lap time. It's the pressure of perception. Even if he wins the next race clean, people will question it. Did the team help? Was it fair? The McLaren PR machine can push all the feel-good content it wants, but once fans smell favoritism, that stain doesn't come out easily. And Norris, for all his talent, now has to carry that baggage. Every win scrutinized, every mistake amplified. Some drivers thrive on that kind of spotlight, others shrink. The next few races will show which one he is, because the worst thing for a driver's brand is doubt. Doubt that they're really the best, doubt that they can win without help. Back in McLaren HQ, the bigger issue is trust. Trust between driver and team, between driver and teammate, and once that's gone, no amount of post-race dinners or a smiling Instagram post can fix it. McLaren made a call at Monza that changed the dynamic in their garage. As whether they admit it or not, they've shifted from being a team with 2 equal stars to one with a favorite and a follower. The wild card now is Oscar's response. He's still playing it cool, but every driver has their line, and if McLaren crosses it again, he might not stay quiet. Maybe next time, he refuses to move over. Maybe next time, he says something sharp in the press. Or maybe, just maybe, he starts having quiet conversations with other teams. You don't need to make a scene to send a message. Sometimes the threat of leaving is louder than any protest. It's also worth asking, how long can McLaren keep this up? They're in a championship fight, but not with one driver, with two. And if they keep kneecapping one to boost the other, they risk losing both. Because favoritism doesn't just damage your reputation, it damages your results. You can't win a constructor's title with internal chaos. You can't out-strategize Red Bull if your own drivers are second-guessing team orders. There's still time to fix this, to be the team that learns from its mistake instead of doubling down. But that window's closing fast. One more misstep, one more questionable call, and the damage might be permanent. Oscar Piastri isn't going to play the nice guy forever. He's too smart for that. Too fast. If McLaren doesn't let him fight, someone else will. And when that day comes, the team in Papaya might realize they didn't just protect one driver, they lost the other.